Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 16-ounce canvas, the Art of Craft Beer podcast. My name is AJ Kierans. I'm your host here each and every week, for the most part, as we do our part to introduce you to the artists and designers from around the world who help bring some of our favorite beers and breweries to life. So this week and all through season 16, what we're trying to do here is catch up with some of our old friends, going way back to the time machine, some of our early adapters, some of the folks who've been with us since the beginning, our first 50, which is just crazy to say in and of itself. But this week we're going back to Matt Leunig. He's based now in Atlanta, Georgia, scrapedknee.com. He's done work for SweetWater and DC Brow and just a ton of amazing gig posters from Dead and Company to Widespread Panic, Ween and in between. And he's just a, all around good dude. And when we were talking with Matt, one of the things that I remember and one of the reasons that we're really trying to do this is you might notice those badges that we do, kind of the episode, artists, where they're from with the black gradient. And that really initiated or was a brainchild of Matt. He came on and he took what we did and he took a picture of himself and put a little banner on the bottom, had some information on it, and cartooned it up a little bit, and it really was like a bing. If I was a good video editor, and maybe in the future I'd have like a light bulb that would pop up on the top of my head, but that just isn't the case. So he did that, and I was like, man, we really have to do that. And then our buddy Zach Brady, he helped us with that. He's done, some of our glasses. He helped come up with the logo for the Art of Craft Beer events, and that was a good aha moment for us, and allowed me to have a reason to want to learn, Photoshop and InDesign, and that's really how I do that, and that's how we've been doing these badges and kind of banners that we're doing for YouTube and what have you. So if you haven't, like, subscribe below. 16-ounce canvas on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also right now where you are, or maybe you're listening, but on YouTube. So I don't know. Leave some comments. Tell a friend. Like, share, retweet, copy link, whatever. Post it. Make a TikTok video. I don't know. But we are just thankful. We are grateful. We are extremely appreciative of all of you folks that are being here. Sorry if I'm dipping down. One of the little fun facts. On Thursday nights when we edit and record, we have a couple beers, and it's usually poker night. So, had a great first game, won some cash. So that'll help with my newest enjoyments, which have been learning more about cryptocurrency. We'll put the links in the description below. And then sneakers. I got a amazing pair of new sneakers this week. And let me see if I can show you. So hold on one second. So, yeah, let's show these bad boys off. So, as a grown-up, I realized that if I have a few dollars, I can get some things that as a kid I was never really able to get or afford. And if you're listening to this, obviously, on the podcast audio edition, it's not going to be as cool, but check out these beauties. Dead stock. Fire reds, man, they are beautiful. So, really excited about those. So, I know I'm a grown-ass man, but I just, that has been my pandemic passion. I have more beer in my cellar than I, care to recognize. So, did a little sharing for cash, and got some sneakers. So, whatever brings you here, we appreciate you. We're really excited. By the time this airs, we should hopefully have had our first, vaccination shot. So really excited. I want to thank all the frontline workers and just everybody who's making that possible. Really just kind of blown away that we'll be making that happen. And then for me, which is really exciting, I'm going to get to see my family this weekend. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's a reality of all this. I don't think I've seen my parents or most of my family in the Philadelphia area in probably at least 6 months, probably more. I try to think, I don't want to think about it because it's going to make me upset, but at least 6 months, maybe 9. So they're all my family down there is vaccinated. My wife is because she's a teacher, and so I'll be the odd man out, or I'll only be a one-shotter. But really excited. So just want everybody to take this opportunity just to thank you all for being here, for being a part of this community as we grow together. And that's just really important. The people that in our lives are the most important, and that means you. And we thank you so much for being here. So let's get into it. Episode 185, Matt Leunig. It's a fun episode. We talk about kind of what he's been up to, a little painting, doing the dad thing, getting to NFTs, talk about live music, and it's just good to catch up and realize there's just so many amazing people that we're blessed to call friends and be able to support during their journey. So scrapedknee.com, support your local artist, and thank you. Here it is, episode 185, Matt Leunig, Scraped Knee. We're playing around with lighting. I don't know. It doesn't always work, but anyway. 16-ounce canvas. Cheers. Oh, I guess maybe this will become part of our thing. What are we drinking? What are you drinking, AJ? I am drinking, I think, in my opinion, one of the best breweries in all of Connecticut. Maybe the greatest brewery. Fox Farm. This is their Little Brook dry hopped American blonde, and they make delicious, delicious beers. So cheers to you. Cheers to yours. Be safe. Still wear a mask. Nothing crazy. Until next time, my friends. So I was like, oh, I like how you updated your logo to have the mask on. I think everyone's kind of like, for a while, I was like, should I do that? Then I've noticed even like some labels, like some beer labels and famous logos and stuff like that. One of the breweries by us, New England Brewing Company, they did it. Like they have, it's definitely a stormtrooper. They call it like Imperial Stout Trooper, and like they found this year's had the 2020's version had the mask on, like the mask. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be working its way into art forever now.
It's iconic. Yeah, I mean, I see people still wearing it in the future for like the flu season and stuff like that. But I just need some live music and hug some family members, and I'm a simple man. I don't need much.
Yeah, and we need to travel, man. We need to get out of Georgia for a little bit.
Yeah, how's Georgia life, man?
It's good. It's the last time I talked to you, I was in a home studio in Oakland, and now I'm in a home studio in Atlanta. So
yeah, I think either like post our interview, you were starting to move, or like within that like kind of period of time, you were getting ready to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of with California too, especially. We kind of got out. I miss it, but we got out at a good time. It would be rough to be there or any kind of really in the thick of any big city during this whole thing. And we got a little bit more space, so we're not the three of us in a one bedroom during the pandemic. Would have been intense.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this is my my office, my recording studio, my personal space. It's like I just have this little square in our extra bedroom. That's like my wife's school's over there when she's here, and we just make the best of it. But yeah, I've as the guy who normally travels, I'm the one who's been homebody, which is good. I'm blessed to work from home. I'm in sales, and I've I'm not complaining. But it's just funny, like they're at school now, and my wife's been at school for a while in person, like hybrid. But and so for me to be like just like hunkered down for days on end, like I'm like, I'll go to the supermarket. All right, I'll go. Who needs this? What do we need?
I hear you. Go to the store. I mean, my wife, you might hear her, and she's working in the other room, but even before the pandemic, even when we lived in Oakland, pretty much like we were working from home together. So that part of it's not been weird or new.
Yeah.
But having the kid home for all of it was, but he's back in daycare, thankfully. But that was definitely, a rough 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I can help with homework, but when it's like a full day, I've always,
How old are your kids?
7 and 10. So, I have the glass half full I've been using is that like I normally, like I said, I'd be on the road even a few, several days a month. So having those like aha moments and those like connections with, with the boys has been,
Yeah.
wonderful with school. And I've learned a few things too. So, yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's all relative. And, thankfully everyone I know that's gotten it has, well, it's been tough, for them physically and stuff, has survived for now. So
Yeah. Did you get the vaccine?
my wife has it. Our state's like switched it up a few times. We had like tiers, and then we went to an age system. So I'm kind of, being a little older in my 40s. I'm up in a couple weeks, so I should be soon. And then I'm just trying
How
to.
old are you?
I'm 42.
I'm 41.
Yeah, so
We're not getting up there just yet.
yeah, very young. Yeah, very young at heart. Yeah, I think 40 is the new 20, right? I'll keep saying it, whatever. I don't know. I just made that up, but yeah, I mean, there's like a few lists you can get on. I'm just trying to because all my family is in Philly and they've got it. So yeah, whatever. It's
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing with Georgia. Georgia's like dead last in getting the vaccine out.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like people are going to Alabama and North Carolina, and it's
like
who knows?
that's like tourist medicine or something like that. People are flying all in, and yeah, people get creative, but I can wait. Yeah, I've already waited too long. I'm good. And I'm not a needle person anyway, but I'm just like, sign me up. Let's go. I'm like trying to get on I'm trying to get on health medical studies, and yeah, I just want to travel. I just want to like just leave town for we're gonna go to New Jersey for a couple days because we can, and I'm the only one not vaccinated out of all of that side of my family, so they'll keep me like I can be inside with them, I think, from CDC or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. Like that many people in your family got it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but they're like trying, like, why don't you come down here? I'm like, oh, I don't live in Philadelphia anymore.
Yeah.
Like so, but yeah, so we're in your studio. This is where the magic happens, man. Is this where is this
well
right now?
This is kind of like this is kind of the home aspect of it. I just moved into an outside studio.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I actually like got it right before the pandemic and like never was really able to use it, and then kind of just started back in there a couple months ago. But it's like a proper big space. I just kind of keep the computer and all that kind of side of it at home. So this is just kind of like the office / 3-year-old toys everywhere studio. And then like all the posters and the flat files and the drawing table and all that stuff is outside, which is good because like I said, I've been working at home with my wife for a long time. I've been working home for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
So this is like the first time in a long time that have a destination to go to.
Yeah. How far is the
studio? Hang out with anybody, but
how far is the studio from the house?
Like 10-15 minutes.
Oh, it's kind of enough just to kind of.
Yeah, and it's great because it's like it's kind of in a set of other studios. My buddy who I do all my printing with has his screen printing shop right there.
Wow.
We're surrounded by 2, 3, now 4 breweries. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, right. That's not so bad. Yeah, I think that's like little collectives like that. They don't even like formal ones. I think it's kind of nice just to be inspired by others and just kind of the juices get flowing and people just making things happen. So that's exciting.
So yeah, that's been nice. Yeah, are we live? Are we going?
Yeah, I'll edit a little bit, but yeah, it's like this is way less formal than the other one. Like it's kind of we'll see. I have a few questions that may come up, but yeah, it's pretty.
Okay.
Like it's just like it's the closest we'll come for now to having like a beer together and just like chatting. But yeah, cool. You know what's funny? I don't know if you realize this when you did the episode, which I think we were saying before was like 44. You took that and like put a little like tag on it, and you did like some episode branding on it. I never done that before, and like I tried to recreate it. It was like super hacky, but literally because of you, I now have that like standard episode cover. That's all you.
Yeah, with the art, with the picture, the artist picture, and all that.
Yeah, that's all you, man.
Hey, well, I'll take credit.
Why? Because it was like boom, and so then I had a buddy, and we like chatted. He gave me like the InDesign file, and I hack it up because then. And there's another reason why I'm doing the video with like the original crew is because I hate that all of the early artists who were like early supporters don't have that like album cover that like so like for me it's like almost like it's like a cheat code. Like it's like, all right, if I go back to the OG early crew, I can make up for that because it drives me crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. So this is kind of like, but yeah, it's all because you, man.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So, what's kind of like, what's life been like? I mean, obviously we were talking about pandemic stuff, but like, how with your clients and art wise, what are you working on?
Well, obviously primarily before I was a music guy. So doing gig posters was my thing for, the last, now like 15 years. And that obviously kind of dried up. I luckily had kind of finished all my gigs right before the pandemic. I had friends that, had just done printed up 300 posters for a show that never happened. And, they're just sitting in their back studio. Or some people that kind of got screwed over because of it. But I always kind of had packaging in my finger in packaging as well. So that's kind of been primarily a lot of what I've been doing. A little bit of beer here, actually a lot more coffee, and the big one now is cannabis. So I've been doing a lot of cannabis packaging. I did some seed packaging, not cannabis, but just like carrots.
They meant like marijuana seeds. I was like, oh.
I mean, that seems natural. But yeah, no, even like the little packets you get at the store. Some guy hit me up and wanted to do some trippy seed packaging. Said, cool, never done that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of packaging design. And that's kind of kept me afloat. Commissions, art prints. Some bands have tried little things, drive-in tour type things, but those never really get off the ground as far as merch. But luckily I've been keeping busy, so. Well,
that's good. Yeah. I mean, any where can we check it out? What are the coffee companies or weed weed, obviously we're not legal here in Connecticut yet, but we're decriminalized, so I think we'll get there in my lifetime, right? You think? I think so.
I do a lot of work with this company out of California in Venice called Califari.
Okay.
And those guys started this thing. It's a strain art. So for each kind of strain of cannabis, they were putting out really cool posters. And that's kind of how they started. Just kind of having like, artwork for each kind of strain. And then they started working with farms and putting out their own products. So now it's the packaging for all that stuff, but they've amassed this really cool collection of gig poster artists, like fine artists, people doing these cool pieces for them. I do a lot of coffee work with this place in Ohio called Youngstown Coffee.
Okay.
So, I mean, free coffee is good for me.
Yeah,
can't
right.
Get free cannabis in Georgia, so.
I was gonna say, that's the day, right? You got to have that in the back end somewhere with the contract. Like, when we can. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm 95% sure this is you, the blueberry one.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, they're cool. I like working with them. It's funny. It's like, it's I feel like it's kind of how when craft breweries started popping up. I've been hit up by so many cannabis companies within the last like 2 years. You can tell by the email how professional they are, or if you're gonna get actually paid or not.
no, bro, we got this dank. Like, yeah, how many
I got this dank idea.
I was gonna say, how many times you use the word dank in the email? It's like, it's like, okay, you're in this column. There's other ones. It's like, they don't. Yeah, you can tell. It's like, okay.
It's a lot of like, hey, so this is what I was thinking, and then just like an email's worth of like super descriptive, and you're just like, I don't want to draw that. That doesn't sound fun. not a question of like, how much can you pay?
It's like, dude, it'll be great, and we'll get like people will know you. My crew, yeah, it's like, yeah, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Too much of your product, which is good. Like I'm pro marijuana, but I just it's like okay.
But less beer work these days. I think that since the last time I talked to you, I had done some stuff with SweetWater, which was really fun. It kind of worked out perfect for when I moved to Atlanta. I started working with SweetWater, and
they had their fest was supposed to happen, right? And I think you had done work for 420.
The 420 festival, yeah, big music festival. Did some bottle work for them, and they're super cool company. There's a ton of like little breweries in Atlanta, and there's a really good beer scene here. But yeah, I mean, the packaging thing for beer has been interesting these days. I think it's got easier to do. Labels are cheaper. You see breweries doing kind of small runs. So they're not really interested anymore to go all out with like really fine packaging. Now it's a lot of stickers. You're seeing more stickers than shrink wraps these days. But as as an artist, I would see it being hard for somebody to make a career doing beer labels, as opposed to like even 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
The kind of money kind of being thrown at labels is kind of getting a little bit less and less, just because of the ease of it. And like I said, if somebody's doing 400 bottles, they're not going to spend a crazy amount of money on the artwork. So that's kind of been an interesting shift.
Now, how, like, because of music, it's kind of like people are getting like, you can kind of see people kind of like in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that there's been more of like, okay, little rumblings with as things get better.
Yeah.
So how does that, I mean, because I just, the way classic things are to go, all of a sudden it's going to be like, all right, these tours are announced, like, and then everyone's going to come in. I mean, it's a good problem for you to have, but like, how are you getting ready for that? Like, that's going to be, it's going to go from like 0 to 1,000.
I don't know. I think it's going to go slower than we think.
Yeah.
I think, it's not just going to be like starting in January, all bands are touring. I think people are still going to be weary about going on tour, going to a live event. The numbers of people are going to be much smaller, which definitely kind of affect a band's interest in doing merch or posters. So, if you were doing a Foo Fighter show, you'd make 200 posters, but if you're only getting 30% occupancy, you'll probably do, 30 posters or 50 posters. I think, it'll be interesting. I think there was a lot of kind of poster artists right before this happened, and I'm kind of curious to see who's left standing. Yeah. A lot of people some people have had to move on to other jobs. Some people found other interests during this year. See who's kind of the poster artists left to sift through these gigs. But I'm excited for it. I mean, that's kind of it was a career that I built up for the last 10, 15 years that just kind of ceased to exist. So I'm happy to see a return. Yeah,
me too. I think, the more, like we've talked about, like Fish is my band and they have a huge like following, but I don't think summer will be the time where I think ideally that would be the perfect time to kind of move back in. So you could have more outdoor events. And I don't know if we're ready for that yet. I mean, I think Florida's kind of, it does it whatever Florida wants, it's like there's something, but like I saw they have a music fest coming up there, which I thought was, I think that everything, you have to practice your script of socially distance, for that. But that's what I think. I mean, I have tickets from last summer tour that they pushed to this August. I don't think it's going to happen. But and then when the fall and winter comes, indoor shows will scare more people. So You're right. It might not be till like, this time 2022.
Well, I think, the venues are going to be much smaller. just logistically, these bands can't fill up, these huger venues. So you're going to see probably a lot more smaller venue shows, which is cool.
Right. For the fans, it works out. I mean, they'll probably have to offset the ticket prices or, be a little more pricier. We went to a show. There's a band we really like called Goose here in Connecticut. They're in the jam scene.
Yeah.
And there's like this farm by us, and you got your, we'll just arbitrarily say 12 by 12 square. That was yours. And then like it was spaced out. So, but that field probably could have fit 4 or 5 times more people. So you pay a little extra, but it was live music, and it was, it was in, I think it was in November we went. It was fucking cold. But like
You've done a drive-in show?
No, I haven't. We have there's some in like New Hampshire that have it, and there's a few other places that have it. So we'll probably do one of those this year. But this is similar to like a drive-in show, except you park in a far off lot and you walk to your square. So it was like that same idea, but it wasn't in your car. So the audio wasn't through like the FM radio. So
yeah.
So we'll see.
I haven't seen anything. I don't know. Drive-in doesn't really sound interesting to me. I mean, I go see a drive-in movie for sure, but like a live band through the radios.
The radio part is what kills it. I think like I know Avett Brothers did one at I think North Carolina, one of the speedways. They did like in the center, like on the track, and you could park. And I think that wasn't through the radio. I think that was through a proper PA. But other ones, I think it depends on if it's if it's a traditional movie theater, they usually go through the FM. But if it's more of like we had this space into a drive-in, but we'll see.
So I'd be curious from your perspective. You've been talking to a lot of artists, specifically beer. What have you felt has been a shift, if anything, in the beer art scene in the last year?
Well, I think to your point, if you're new or trying to get in and you didn't have that like infrastructure or connections, I think it's harder. I have noticed a few more places, not really pandemic time, but like in the last 18 months, they have more on staff so they can do the limited releases, and it's not like a per label cost. It's like, okay, this person does everything for us. And so that's been good. There's been more made because like the fact that like a lot of folks, they lose all of their keg and like on premise behavior. So like a lot of folks have gone pretty heavy canning to stay afloat with curbside. So it's been interesting. I don't see as many like, okay, I'm a brand new artist and I'm doing all these cans. I don't see as many of that. For me, it's been more of I've been the person doing it, and now I'm way busier. So in a way, it depends on the role. I do see more in-house folks than we would have seen like 2 years ago. But in that regards, they're probably getting more, the breweries getting more bang for their buck, having them be, on staff versus, paying per label.
Yeah.
So if they're an IPA heavy shop, it's probably been more cost effective for them to bring somebody on staff.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of the direction a lot of it went.
Yeah, but it's been good to see. I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, curbside. I mean, Connecticut's we're difficult to work with, so we don't get as many delivery options out of state. So, but we did allow for in-state delivery, so that's been kind of a positive. But it's just, everyone I've talked to, you can legally send it to Connecticut, but however our laws are written, I think with like each SKU is a whole thing. It just, I've talked to folks, they just said Connecticut's a pain in the ass. It's just not worth it. I mean, it's already low margins for some of these delivery things, and so,
I think at least in the beginning there was like a lot of breweries were dwindling down the roster of beers. Mm-hmm. So they kind of couldn't spend a lot of money and time on like an experimental new beer, because people kind of, especially in the beginning when people were just going to the grocery store in hazmat suits, wiping down their groceries and being like, just grab a 24 pack and let's get out of here. They didn't want to try some beer and be like, oh, this is horrible. They didn't have room for that. So I think in the beginning, the kind of new labels, there weren't that many.
Mm-hmm.
and kind of people were just kind of making the mainstays.
Yeah.
But I think, especially for breweries, because breweries during this whole thing have been some of the first things to kind of open up again. And like, cause a lot of them are outdoors and have always had that setup. So I'd say before even most restaurants and stuff, like the breweries were the ones that were opening up again and kicking ass. So hopefully that's shifting and we'll see more room for some new beers and stuff.
Yeah. And then, so how do you start doing, like, how does it work doing with coffee? Like, is it just more like we liked, again, scrapeknee.com, we like what you do as an artist. We think that your art would, fit our vibe. Are you doing the full branding? Are you doing it like beer where you're just doing like certain types of the coffee?
Well, with this one Youngstown that I was working with, they approached me, and it's always a plus when they hit me up and they say, "Hey, we like your style. We want that. We want this kind of psychedelic gig poster." Yeah, there's nothing worse than being like, "Hey, I love your super detailed psychedelic posters. Do you do logos, like an Apple type logo?" And you're like, "What?" They're like, "You do art, art," and like
they miss a verb.
Yeah. So the fact that they wanted what I put out, that style, made it really easy. But it's usually people looking for that gig poster style. But they came and they said, "Hey, we have a line of coffees that we're right now they kind of have generic bags, and we slowly want you to start making those bags." And over time you kind of start to create like a look and a template or layout, so they all kind of look similar. So for these coffees, like they got my swirlies and all kind of stuff in there, so you can kind of pick them out from on the counter there. But they kind of came to me knowing what they were looking for. It wasn't really a one-off gig, which is nice.
Is he young? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Youngstown. I don't know if you're just referring to it as like a Youngstown, Ohio coffee, but yeah, I'm looking at the Spotted Owl, and yeah, that's
yeah. So I think with them, I've done 4 or 5, something like that. I did a fun one with Widespread and this coffee company here called Jittery Joe's. We did like an old school tin.
Okay.
And then we made prints, and it's kind of like this coffee company out of Athens, and they do a lot of like local Athens, so Widespread Panic is from Athens. So they did a team up with them, they'll do like the Georgia Bulldogs or whatever. They team up with a lot of local stuff, but we did a trippy can, and that was fun. I don't know. I just like seeing my stuff on physical stuff I can put in my house.
Yeah. Now, how is that for you? Like, because our poster is pretty mean. There's variations of the rectangle, right? And some people get weird with it, but like those packages they have a weird, they're like not firm. It has a weird, way to go. Like, how do you transition yourself to that?
It's a learning curve. You kind of like, a lot of times, posters, I'm working with something like this and skinny, right, and then they want something long and short, So, no, it's been fun. I've been kind of doing the same kind of posters for a long time. So mixing it up and trying a different medium.
Yeah.
It's always cool.
Yeah.
Plus I get to draw smaller, so I don't have to go crazy with too much detail.
That was awesome. Yeah. And it's kind of, I got to introduce you. I don't know if, do you know Brian Steely? Do you guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He lives around here.
Yeah. Because Widespread, that's his jam too. And that's how he was one of our guests. I mean, you guys have probably the most polar opposite styles, but like the love of Panic.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely, I see him around a lot. Yeah. This stuff's great. It's like you said, it's very different than mine, but it's still trippy in the same way. It's so clean and just like, I don't know, where his brain goes like minimalistic, thought out, clean line. I'm just like, blah.
Yeah.
It'll be
the cool thing is, and I'll send it to you if you haven't seen, like, he got started, just like Panic was coming, I think for, I forget what year it was, for New Year's. And he like, it was old back in the day, and he like wrote them or like pitched them like old school way, like I think through the mail, and they like called him at like his parents' house, and he made like this like dragon on the earth, like how New Year's Eve poster for them, which is completely night and day for what he does. So it's kind of like the evolution, but Panic is like a hardcore bunch of folks, and so it'd be good.
Well, that's another kind of client that like I've been working with them since 2007 or something, and like I moved here, and I mean like I'm in the home of Widespread Panic fans, so it's like I ended up moving here and having a bunch of clients, whether it be SweetWater or Widespread Panic, kind of waiting for me, who I was working with. So that was like a nice, easy transition. But yeah, I mean, most of the work I'm doing now is just from clients that I've had, pre-pandemic, people that have kind of like fed me gigs over the years, like I said, whether it be packaging or kept me afloat. So it's been nice.
Yeah, really. I realized we need to get one of your pieces in the studio. So I'm just excited. I mean, Panic's been pretty quiet during all this. Like some of the bands they've been doing little like remote things. So I'm kind of curious. My finding a positive is like I'm hoping like when things are normal, there's just gonna be like albums worth of new songs. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just hoping they're like Schools and JoJo, they're just like locked up somewhere, just like, writing all the time.
I'm waiting that for Ween. I'm like, what's Ween been doing?
Yeah.
I want them to come out and be like, hey guys, pandemic's over. We just came out with a triple album. I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what happened with Trey. He was like locked in like in his New York apartment, and like he could discover, he was like discovering social media, like how to do it himself, like during it, and he would like play in the kitchen and then next thing you know, like one day he just dropped a whole album, and it was he recorded like basically himself in his like apartment, and it was awesome. And then which was probably the coolest thing band wise, because he's starting like a rehab center because of his addiction. Yeah. They gave him like MSG. He did the Beacon, so like it was a Friday night for like 2 months. Every Friday night he would play live at the Beacon on Twitch, and it was like he would have a screen in front of him so people would write random shit, and he would like see it while he was playing and like interact with the crowd. It was really kind of cool because I don't
think that stuff is going away anytime soon. Like even if bands are playing live again, I think the kind of lifestyle that people have developed this last year is gonna stick around. Off the bat, like obviously companies are going to be keeping people home more because they're like, oh, it's actually cheaper for us.
Right.
People are kind of like, people themselves are like, oh, this actually fits my lifestyle better. And I think that's going to bleed into music as well. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. Who knows? We didn't know what the world was going to look like, a year back. So who knows what it's going to look like next year?
Yeah, I remain positive because I think with like the Nugs, we have a Nugs.net or maybe it's Nugs.tv subscription, and that was pretty good. But with the cost of like high-end cameras and stuff like that being so much cheaper, I think that we were saying before about these smaller shows, but I think like a pay-per-view thing to offset some of the cost, right? You're gonna see these bands playing 1,000-person venue, and maybe doing like, if they get smart with it, they make it a few nights and do, like Panic used to do and the Dead used to do, like an acoustic first set, electric stick, make it special. I mean, it's nice to, I can't go to as many shows with the kids and stuff. So we can sit on the couch and I can drop, what would cost me to get like a 1 Budweiser, a 4-pack of really good beer, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. I haven't done that many of that stuff. I did, I haven't done any like couch tour stuff. I did the SF Sketch Fest, did like an 8-hour show or something. They couldn't obviously have the Sketch Fest, so they had Mr. Show and Upright Citizens Brigade and all these like kind of comedy troupes had their little time slot and did something kind of via Zoom. But that was fun.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we would do the Friday night with Trey, and then like Fish had dinner and movie. We did that. The Dead would do like one more Saturday night. It wasn't live, but it was like they'd go in their archive, and then we paid for one of the Avid Brothers shows, which was live, and then we paid for Jason Isbell show. Like I think that was New Year's. That was really good. He did that in like Tennessee at like the Brooklyn Bowl.
Avett Brothers. I'm a dope. I'm calling them the Avett Brothers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Avett, yes, Avett Brothers. Yeah, and so that was kind of good. They did that. They've done that twice, and yeah, and the Isbell show was good. That was full band, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, it's weird. But we just Jones for whatever we can get. Like I said, I'm just glad there's been like a lot of archival live shows come out. And
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, man. So Youngstown Coffee, if you're listening, I'll gladly promote the howdy. I'm a big coffee guy, so I probably drink way too much coffee. So
they got good coffee. Yeah, I mean, Jittery Joe's Calfari, if that's your jam. I got some. I mean, I've just been kind of like experimenting, doing some art prints that are kind of all up on the site.
Yeah, is there stuff like, are you using this time to kind of try things? Because you've been cooking, right? And you've been so busy, which so in a way you got to slow down a little bit for better or for worse. But have you been trying anything new, or is there anything that like you can say like, oh man, I've always wanted to do this and I just never had the time?
Yeah, I mean, in the very beginning, I think in the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of poster artists were searching for other avenues to sell stuff. So everybody kind of got in the puzzle game for a little bit.
Yeah, you're
making puzzles. I made gaiters and handkerchiefs and keychain, all the swag you can imagine. But over time, the cool thing was it gave me a little bit of time to actually just do art for myself for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of figure out what that means now. So I never really painted, and that's something I've been trying to get into doing more. Mm-hmm. Try that. That's like an old man art you could see doing when you're old.
Yeah.
Not screen printing.
We're young, man. We're young. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just giving me kind of some time to figure out some personal projects and mess around with some little animations, and I don't know. I've been trying to pitch some bands, some kind of different avenues to do because they're not touring, different merch avenues. So
okay,
we'll see if those take off. If they do, it'll be cool. So
yeah, and then it's like we were saying before, it's just nice to as a father to have that time like that you probably wouldn't have had. Just to kind of like
for sure.
Like it seems like little things, but it's just kind of like that pure joy of just like being there is exciting.
Yeah, I mean my kid is 3.5. So, at this point he's been kind of equal in the pandemic than not. Yeah. So it's like normal for him. He's never asked why we wear masks. He's kind of hit the right age because he never really questioned it. Yeah. We never had to explain it, how scary it was. Or
my 7-year-old, like, I don't know if I'm ever like, I feel like I would joke with my wife. I feel like in a year from now, he's gonna be like, I still want to wear this mask because he'll be like, wear like his hoodie and like he's gotten into skateboarding. Like he wants to like look cool. And he thinks it's like a cool accessory. Like I remember early on, he was like, Dad, we don't have any black masks and black is really cool. And like, can you give me some black? And I was like, all right, cool. Like that was it. It's more just like, he'll go and like, look at our little thing, a basket and be like what he's wearing for today. And like, all right, matches it up. And he's like, all right, I'm good to go. And I'm like, so he's never been a problem. My other one wears like a dick nose and like, I can't keep it on his face. It's like falls down like a beard all the time. And I'm like, but yeah, he's just kind of like,
those masks are going to stay, man. It's going to go full Mad Max, Burning Man, just like exhaust pipes and
Skeletor face and like the jaw, that metal jaw. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, whatever. That's all I worry about. I mean, it's the fact you're probably going to have to make some mask merch at some point is for bands is kind of silly. I tried to, I don't know if we have any Grateful Dead ones, but I found like a fish ring one. It's just funny. Like, I don't know. As you can tell, I just have fun with it. I don't care. I don't care. Let's just get back to it. Now, a new thing I've noticed, and I don't know enough about it, but I'm trying to get more information to see how we could work with it, the artists. But have you heard anything about like NFTs? That stuff? Is that something that like, yeah?
Yeah, I mean that's been the topic of kind of every artist like has been trying to figure that out the last couple of weeks. You see the big headlines and you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
And it's, especially coming from a 2D kind of print artist, the digital space is so different that you're like, okay, how would I adapt my stuff? And I've been trying to read up on it, and I have friends that have jumped in it that are poster artists and sold some stuff. And now, you see the backlash happening the last couple days, pretty much, like people pushing how the process of minting is like so environmentally destructive. And, there's like just also backlash from people who, I don't know, the natural kind of, I don't know if it's jealousy or just, I want that. How come I can't have that? You have that, so I don't like you. I don't like that. I'm still figuring it out.
Cool.
I don't have any plans in the works to do any NFTs. But yeah, I'm like everybody. I'm like, what? I'm chill. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think that was like, yeah, because I've got a little bit into the crypto space and like, gotten some stuff, and then, that's popped up, and then my background with music and bands, and then doing the podcast, I was like, man, little shit. I know how hard it is sometimes to get up to speed on what's going on. If you're a band, if you're an artist, like, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to do some research and figure a way to, bring it all together. Cause
I don't know if it's going to be a flash in the pan for the next month. I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's like that money being thrown around. Is that, just a short thing? People are flooding it, posting any little sketch they've ever done.
I think like for every one, there's gonna be like 100 that are just like don't do anything. It's gonna be, I think finding what you want will be hard. So I think but tying it into like a band, an artist, and maybe even like a brewery or a product, like to have that like.
Well, we're definitely going to see a shift, once things kind of. I will be interesting to see how this works into negotiations in the future. So, typically, with like my work with bands, typically I'll do the artwork, but I'll keep the rights to the artwork. I can never reprint it with the band's name and all that, but I can take all that stuff off and make art prints and stuff like that. Technically, if I wanted to sell that as an NFT, I could. Moving forward, as soon as bands or production houses or management like smells, hey, how can we make some money off this? You might start seeing bands clamp down on usage rights. Wanting to, you'll see that work its way into contracts. We get, or you could see upfront fees get smaller with the idea, hey, you can use it as an NFT. I'll be interesting to see how all that stuff adapts to it.
I'm trying to, I don't want to, what I know is not a lot to speak. But I think it'll definitely, because that's what I was thinking, like, how can I get, with the digital, like, okay, I think it'd be a whole other avenue. I could just see, it being, but what some of them are doing is like, you have the NFT, the digital, and then you get a physical print. So I think in a way could you see a lot of like those like tokens or pins and like per show, like trying to make little like per show tchotchkes, like so to speak, I do think we're like, it'd be interesting to see where, I thought we were at a tipping point of merch where it was like branding on every object at the venue. And it was like I don't need a July 14th straw that I got, like I'm good. But I do think
it's interesting because the crossover isn't really there. Like, I have people who kind of like my posters, and those aren't necessarily the people that would be buying my NFTs. That crossover isn't necessarily the same. And then also the people buying NFTs, like you said, like you could send them a physical thing. A lot of times these people are in it for to resell it, just like posters. Like, they're kind of like, no, this is like a stock. I'm hoping to accrue value and then like sell it again.
I think the artists, I don't know what we can, as we go, maybe we'll have like a round table about it. I think it'll be interesting, but like, I think that no matter where in the game, like that's the interesting with the fees and stuff. You're saying that they call it gas fees, like with Ethereum, is I think that like the artist or like the shop who sells it, whatever the auction house, they always get a piece of it on every sale in the future.
Yeah.
Because it's like all like integrated with the technology, like the
The
blockchain.
smart contracts and yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this. It just gets down.
I mean, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily, you have to work that into the code and the contract and all that. But the idea that, every time it sells, that the artist would make a little piece of that is definitely cool.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. Yeah, I want like maybe. Yeah. Once I feel. I mean, I'm like the master of nothing, and but we'll get there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of joined that clubhouse, and that's all people are talking about is NFT stuff and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, because I'm trying to learn I'm trying to learn the crypto thing because the stocks like scare me. I mean, it just scares me, like all that stuff sometimes, and I just feel like, thankfully, like I don't blow water or anything like that. But yeah, the crypto, at least with my background of technology and like trying to be decentralized, like I like that. Like
yeah,
I like kind of like the internet is the country versus like all that.
No taxes, right?
That's a gray area. I definitely think there's taxes, and I think people.
I think if you pull it, maybe.
Yeah, I think people are gonna get their ass handed to them if they don't like if they don't keep track of it. Like that's what I'm afraid of too. I think they treat Bitcoin like real estate right now, and then the other ones are considered similar to stock. Yeah, I don't know. The two. Look, I have my big spend is my 8-pixel star here. I'm not too worried about fuck you money yet, but when we get there, we'll.
This is definitely like an old man moment where you're just like, oh, I'm like on the other side now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could, because of gig posters and like things like sneakers and all these things that have like resell that aren't like what they're. I kind of feel okay with it, but I feel it's like the NFTs reminds me of like Pokemon cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And even now, like some of that stuff my kids do with like Roblox and Minecraft, it reminds me a lot of that, like where you would buy this and then you get this like digital asset that would be like a cool skin or something like that. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. And they're saying that you might even get to that with like gaming and stuff like that, with like gaming and audio NFTs.
Yeah. I mean, I heard people talking about. You mean basically you can release anything as an NFT. It could be a video of me drawing behind the scenes of me doing a poster. Like audio interviews. Like it's crazy what people will, I guess, sell, or what people want to buy or collect.
Because the NBA, I think it's like Hot Shots or Top
Shots.
Is like, that's basically the NBA is like, that's their like side business.
Yeah, I mean, they probably make more money doing that than playing right now.
Oh yeah, I think they sold like a LeBron dunk for like a couple $1 million or something like that. Like, I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, when we get there, it'll be good. I'll buy people. We'll make this NFT, our video, and we'll sell it.
Yeah.
No, I think that you're saying you're figuring out animation. I mean, I think some of your work in just a digital space, if it has any sort of like trippy literal movement to it, I think would really resonate.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Some of the conversation I was having with other artists in regards to NFTs was the natural inclination, especially as like a 2D print artist. You're seeing the most successful ones are animated or loops or doing these little things. So you're like, oh, maybe I should animate my stuff. And there's like two schools of camp. One, I've heard some kind of well-established artists who are like painters who are just basically like, no, I've been a painter for 20 years. Like, this is my medium. Like, I don't want to adapt it. And actually, like, me trying to figure out how to animate it, I actually make it look cheaper and worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other school where it's like, oh, a lot of times when you're doing this animation, people are like, I'm going to work with another animator. Like, I'm going to do a collaboration with somebody. So it's like taking that piece and giving it a new life, and like kind of having somebody else take a crack at expanding upon it. So
like a remix, it'd be kind of cool.
Exactly. So I kind of respect both of them.
Yeah, me too. I think it's good. I mean, I think for once I mean, I think that's always been the classic thing is like artists usually get ripped off, underpaid, underappreciated, even music, right? Like you get per click on per play on Spotify is like a bajillionth of a cent, right? And so I think if there's a way for artists to kind of get a little extra hand in the game, and even if it's like greedily spending or people just trying to play, wherever, and they can get the artist. I think that's kind of my thinking was the few folks I've talked to, they're just kind of like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I know tech, so maybe I don't know a little bit more than you, and we can find a happy, because they're saying they might do hardware where it's like a frame, but to your point about energy, like you don't have to plug in your art. So it's like, there's going to be all sorts of weird stuff happening.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a few gatekeepers that are really the ones that are curating what you see sell and make the most money, A couple websites, was it like Nifty and Super Rare, like these places that basically you have to be invited in and they're the ones selling.
Yeah, Nifty Gateway, right?
The top ones. So the kind of entry, all these people are jumping in, but there's barriers to actually get your stuff seen, and you really kind of, what they're doing when they buy your NFTs, they're buying their stock in you. They're expecting you as an artist to be bigger and better so that their purchase like accrues value.
Yeah.
And so
get to work, Matt. Whore yourself out.
I feel like you got to have a big, video package, and you got to make your release. Like you got to put in some money to make this big production to make people believe that you're, going to be this big thing. So it's not just uploading a JPEG and being like, give me the money,
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a whole. Yeah, it's like perception, reality. Yeah, the hip and cool. It's kind of like I just want to draw.
I know, that's the thing. I'm like, oh damn it! Now I got to think about this stuff. Like I just want to fucking draw, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of. So I'm just like, all right, I'm learning, but I'm like, yeah. A friend of mine was like, just once you get one, you kind of understand it, but they're not. Yeah, some of them aren't cheap, but he got one that was. You got like a print and then some like unreleased music or something like that, which I think would be cool. But I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Somebody will go for it, and I just don't want people to fail. It seems like a lot of work to take a huge risk on and fail.
I mean, if you're already in the crypto space, it kind of makes sense. And you see the money going around, and you're like, well, it's not that crazy, because like that's the kind of funny money that crypto is, like the amount of zeros at the end, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People who are just kind of like finding out about Ethereum and the crypto kind of currencies.
Yeah, because there's ones that like Bitcoin, I think that was like an investment for our future. And there's other ones that I think have like tangible usage that I think are really like important from a societal thing. So like that's interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah. Like I don't know. I've tried to wire money to people in different places, and the amount of money you pay to send $20 is like more than $20. And it's like double. And so it's like, why can't I just send, why can't I send it to somebody, and pay? I mean, like Venmo, like that's super easy. That's basically like kind of a crypto in a way, right? You're just sending this digital thing back and forth, and you never really
visible money. Yeah.
So we need more of that. But like I said before when we started, like I love your work. I think that you're a great artist. I think that you really helped me see what I was doing in a new way, and to brand it and bring your expertise into that. And I know to you it probably seemed really small, but you putting the episode number and the logo and your name as like a banner, like that was mind-blowing for me. I know it sounds crazy to say that, but that really changed how I positioned and branded what we did, to have a scheme and try to have a color set that we were doing, and it really helped me take it to another point. So this is my way to thank you publicly for for always supporting, but like I appreciate everything you do, and I like we have a similar, we're dads and same energy, like it's a lot of the same music. And I just, if there's anything, obviously, we're 4 years into it, anything I can do to help you. We're hoping to do a book. And so obviously we'd love to have you be a part of that in the future, but
sure. Yeah, no, that sounds great, man.
yeah, I'm a huge fan.
It's crazy. It's been 4 years. And this is what, like you said, 187, 180 something.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
You've been rocking it out for a couple of years, and now you're doing video, and thanks for letting me be a part of it. I think it's been a great idea. It's like a podcast focusing on a very specific style of art and like field and world of art. And I'm sure, you've introduced people to me. You've introduced like a number of people to a lot of artists and gotten them work. And, so thank you for that.
It brings me a joy. It's like my happy place. And we've gotten not the boat, like guests from over 12 different countries and all around the world. So like, to me, it's just, I don't know, it's something that brings me joy. And then to meet other people to kind of like build an organic community, that's kind of like how I look at all the music I've listened to from, the Dead and their following, and Fish and everything like that. Like, it's just kind of, you're building something where everybody has a commonality and it brings you joy. And so your work brings me joy and I share that with everybody else. And so circle life, my friend.
Sweet, brother.
All right. Well, we will do it. We will do it in person. So I know that will happen soon. I can't wait. Me, you, and we'll walk down the street and get Brian and we'll grab some beers together and listen to some Panic or something. Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Be safe and talk to you soon.
See you, Jay.
Later, brother.